Welcome to this week's Movie Math, where Maleficent turns out to be a dream come true for Angelina Jolie and a pleasant story for Disney. The industry had predicted the flick would open in the 50s, but now it looks like we'll open closer to 70 million, the biggest box office debut of Jolie's career. Then again, Jolie hasn't set the bar very high for herself. She's always been a tabloid star, not a box office star. In fact, Jolie, along with Princess Diana, pioneered tabloid stardom, recognizing the paparazzi as a publicity tool that can be wielded behind the scenes. For instance, both are well known for giving the paparazzi a heads up on where they could be found and photographed. Now it looks like Jolie might finally have some credibility as an actual movie star. But Maleficent's box office success is stunning for reasons beyond simply defying Jolie's track record. It was able to open big despite largely negative reviews, a hurdle that 2010's Alice in Wonderland also overcame. Yet that film opened above the century mark, and even last year's Oz the Great and Powerful opened with about 10 million more. Still, Maleficent easily topped Universal's Snow White and the Huntsman, also from producer Joe Roth, and is further evidence that this is the dawn of a new era in Hollywood, where women can carry a movie. Gravity, The Hunger Games: Catching Fire, and Frozen all topped the box office last year. And speaking of Frozen, it's interesting to see Disney's second girl power flick in a row also open strong, perhaps signaling a new trend for the studio creatively. Frozen and Maleficent share several key elements, all of which work to break down the romantic stereotypes that Disney itself has been accused of perpetrating in the first place. Indeed, Disney aimed its marketing campaign for Maleficent specifically at girls and their moms, who they discovered were largely the key to Frozen's boffo success. And it worked, as 60% of Maleficent's audience was female and 30% under the age of 18. But as Disney's princess brand morphs into its feminist brand, the short-term results might be hordes of cash, but how about the long-term results? I voiced some concern about this in my non-spoiler and spoiler reviews of the movie, and BTT viewer Cameron Shorter noted that as he left the theater, he overheard a mom asking her daughters what they learned from the film. They responded, "Never trust a man." Oops, or success! Are women, both who make these movies and see them, just looking for better representation in movies or blood? Either way, this is happening worldwide as Maleficent brought in an astounding 100 million overseas. Sure, it's unlikely Maleficent will duplicate Frozen's success, and it has a huge budget to overcome, but this does ensure more of these movies, and also begs the question of how long Disney will be able to keep this feminist fairy tale market to themselves. I'm rooting for Frozen 2 being made as a live-action movie. Meanwhile, it looks like Seth MacFarlane should go back to animation, at least personally. The industry trades are trying to be kind to the comedian, aka Ricky Gervais Light, blaming the Western genre for A Million Ways to Die in the West's poor box office debut. Yet as many of you recently pointed out, the Western does succeed when done right, like with Django Unchained and True Grit. I propose that Million Ways failed because of MacFarlane's own hubris, casting himself on the lead role in the flesh, rather than the smarter, safer bet of taking on a supporting role. Now we know that Mark Wahlberg's star power was a big part of why Ted opened with 54 million, more than double the debut of MacFarlane's sophomore effort. Million Ways is actually one of the lowest debuts of the year of any genre, bested by much less supposedly sure bets, like The Other Woman, The Monuments Men, and The Nut Job. The Nut Job! Universal might be starting to think they're nuts for giving MacFarlane so much creative freedom, but at least they only entrusted him with 40 million. And Ted 2, set for 2015, should help to erase all the red Million Ways will add to Universal's ledger. Or will it? As for the rest of the box office, X-Men: Days of Future Past continued this summer's disturbing trend of second weekend drops of 60% or more. So far, only Neighbors has been able to buck the trend, and Captain America: The Winter Soldier, but then the Marvel flick isn't a part of the official summer lineup. It seems that each blockbuster really only has one weekend to make any real cash, at least stateside. Yes, while Days of Future Past might be seriously lagging behind X2 and X3 domestically, thanks to its foreign box office numbers, it's already the highest grossing entry in the franchise. Now, one might think that this is due to bad scheduling on the part of the studios, but then again, has any movie been universally acclaimed by audiences since, well, Captain America: The Winter Soldier? Some people even claim to be disappointed in X-Men: Days of Future Past. And the box office clearly shows that audiences are ready to see what June has to offer, clearing the slate as all the movies in the top 10 dropped 40% or more. The one bright spot was Chef once again, which fell just about 11% in its fourth weekend. A nifty little palate cleanser for those who feel summer has so far left a bad taste in their mouth. But even still, that slight drop signals that Chef's release won't expand much further, so see it now if you plan to catch it in theaters. And on that note, this coming weekend, another small flick is expected to topple a blockbuster. Yes, if Maleficent is unable to escape that second weekend trend of a 60% drop or more, Angelina Jolie and Tom Cruise will be fighting it out for second place behind Shailene Woodley. And that's the weekend box office. I'm Grace Randolph, and we just did some movie math. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope we'll go beyond the trailer for these other top movies.